And today, we're going to spend some time talking about grow lighting. We've been manufacturing grow lighting for 10 years now, so we've learned a lot over the years, and what we've learned has been incorporated into all of our LED grow lights. So grow lights come in a lot of different sizes and shapes. In fact, it's kind of bewildering, so we're going to try and make it a little bit easier for you. In this particular space, which is our test garden, we have 6 of our FGI Square 3 LEDs, which is a lot of light for a small test garden. But that gives us a ton of flexibility for growing different plant types and experimenting on how they react to light. There are 3 elements to LED grow lights that it's important to understand if you're going to get your garden built correctly. First one is light uniformity, and that's the area that the light will cover with photosynthetic light uniformly, so that every plant in that area is getting the same amount of light. The next one is light intensity, which is the amount of light that the light is putting off. That is going to also affect uniformity. So we want to give the plants the right amount of photosynthetic light for their growth stage and what they prefer in order to be maximally successful. And the final element is spectrum. And when we talk about spectrum, we're talking about the colors that the sun produces naturally outdoors. We want to replicate as much of that as possible cost effectively in order to give plants what they've experienced for tens of thousands of years. Let's flip the camera around over here to one of our workbenches where we have a variety of different LED lights, and we can talk a little bit more about design and performance to make your shopping experience easier. And because grow lights come in so many different shapes, sizes, diode configurations, and lighting intensity, it's important to understand what your target is so you don't over-invest or under-light your garden when you're making choices. One important concept to understand when you're going to buy a grow light is the amount of PAR output that the light will produce. And what that is the amount of photosynthetic active radiation being created by the light, based on where the plant is sitting. So it's the amount of sunlight, essentially, artificial sunlight, that's hitting the leaves at any given time. And it's measured with a device called a PAR meter, which we'll take a look at in a later segment. So I'm sitting here with one of our LED grow lights. This is an entry-level light for growing seedlings and young plants called our Flexiclone system. And it's 2 different bars. They're 4 feet long. They only use 25 watts, so it doesn't produce a high level of light output, but it's just the right amount of light for plants that prefer really low light, like orchids, some leafy greens, and plant starts, for example. This is our FGI Square 2. It consumes 200 watts, so basically 2 100-watt light bulbs. And you'll notice if you take a close look at it, that instead of 1 line of diodes down the middle of the bar, we have 2, and in this particular case what we did is we wrapped the bar around twice. And what this product will allow us to do is cover a 2 foot by 2 foot area up to about a 3 foot by 3 foot area with photosynthetic light. So it's appropriate for a small space, and you can grow very successfully under one of our entry-level lights, and they're not that expensive. Now graduating up to the next size, we have our FGI Square 3 series of products, and this is the same as the FGI Square 2, but this is 300 watts, so 3 100-watt light bulbs and 3 rings of LED diodes with 2 rows each, plus the deep red and the far red additional energy. So this light will cover a 3 foot by 3 foot area up to about a 4 foot by 4 foot area. So as you can see, we're really starting to talk about the geometry of the light and the amount of area that it will cover. So these square style designs will cover square areas of photosynthetic light on plant canopy. The longer products, the longer bar style products, will cover linear areas. So depending on the size of your grow space, you'll scale it based on the width of your grow lights. And here's another example. This light is 4 feet long. It's 18 inches wide. There's 3 panels on it that are tightly clustered diodes with the additional red diodes as well. And this is a commercial grade light that consumes 500 watts. So now as we step up into these higher watt output lights, we're going to create a lot more photosynthetic energy. We're going to cover a larger area, and this light is appropriate for rectangles, for growing rectangular spaces as opposed to the square spaces. Thanks for tuning into segment 2. On segment 3, we're going to take the smaller plants that we've been working on and we're going to put them into their final larger containers with artificial soils and start tracking their progress as we create a beautiful garden here in our office test garden at Forever Green Indoors.